Hello everybody and welcome back to Nathan Adams Cars. Today we are at Ted Britt Lincoln and Ford again, and we're going to take a look at the brand new Lincoln Aviator. I did a video review of the Navigator, which seemed to do pretty well, so I figured following up with this, which just came out, is a no-brainer. And this car has impressed me a lot, so you're really going to enjoy this. Just stick with me, take a look at some of these features. Here it is, you're looking at the 2020 Lincoln Aviator. This happens to be the reserve trim, which is right in the middle between the standard model and the black label at the top of the line. Now check out these design elements up front, such as the LED headlights and turn signals, as well as those sharp muscular lines on top of the hood, all converging into the center to showcase that Lincoln badge. You're going to note some other details coming together. I really just like the front end of this vehicle. And one of those details is the chrome piece on the bottom of the hood, which is bisected by that little bump with the license plate. It's just all done well, in my opinion. Now, when you go to open up the hood, the first thing I'm going to point your direction towards will be the line actually under the hood, which comes together to draw your attention to the Aviator badge. So it's just good branding and design coming together to showcase the new vehicle, or the revival of the Aviator for Lincoln. And then you open up the hood, and underneath you're going to find the same 3.0 twin turbocharged V6, which was in the much larger and heavier Lincoln Navigator. It produces 400 horsepower and 415 foot-pounds of torque, and when combined with the 10-speed automatic, which we'll go into more details later, you can imagine that the performance is pretty spectacular. Now, like I mentioned, this is the middle package, the reserve package. You can start around $52,000 for this vehicle and go all the way up to the high 80s with the different powertrain, the hybrid, which there'll be another video about that, rest assured. But this particular one has, it's $5,000 more than the standard trim, plus it gives you the ability to have some packages. This one has the reserve plus the luxury package. Now, this vehicle does come standard with remote start. You just have to know how to use it. Since this is the overview segment of the video, I'm just going to kind of show you some of the basic amenities in this car. One of the ways that we can talk about is just how to get in the vehicle. The actual handle doesn't come out from the body. There's a little button inside. It's interesting, part of the Lincoln lineup. They have those on some of their other vehicles, but you can see the details there on the interior and just kind of see how nice of a place this is to be. One very nice thing with the luxury package or standard on the black label is the 30-way perfect position seat. You can see going back and forth each little adjustment that you can make. You can adjust the height of the chair, obviously. You can adjust the shoulders back and forth. You can adjust the thighs up and down, and you can even adjust individually which thigh adjustment you want to move forward. So if you need a comfortable seat, I don't know where else you can go. You can accommodate every single thing with these 30-way perfect position seats from Lincoln. Very impressive. And they even have like a little bit of a flex on the bottom, so it has active movement. It's extremely impressive and extremely comfortable. This particular Lincoln happens to be equipped with a 360 camera system. It has a rear view camera, a front view camera, and two on the side. They even have washers on the front and the rear cameras. And if you try hard enough, you can use your feet with a hands-free tailgate opening gesture, and the tailgate will open so that if you have your hands full, you don't have to drop everything and press a button on the key or on the hatch itself. Now you can see the compartment space here in the back of this vehicle. Also, there's some more storage space below that, and then even some power outlets and some tow hooks and things like that. I'm not going to talk about capacity numbers because I think that the actual configuration makes a bigger difference. So we'll go into more details about the actual cargo volume later on. But check out the buttons that you can use to put down these seats one by one, and you can put them up using just one button with one time. It's pretty convenient that you can do that. And then you can put these headrests up, just press the button to release them back down so you can have better visibility out of the rear. And here you can see kind of the seat for the third row, just these two seats. Of course, you have a button you can press to put the tailgate back down. You don't have to use your hands like a crazy person. You can use a button, and then you can open up into the second row here and check out how to access that third row. Press the button once, the seat rolls completely forward and allows you to go in. I do talk about how I have a herniated disc I'm recovering from, so I'm not going to go back there, unfortunately. Definitely more space in the Navigator, but it didn't look too cramped back there compared to some of the competitors. Of course, here I'm showing you that it has the different controls for the AC, heated seats, cooled seats. Those are, of course, options. It comes with 3 different zones for the climate: the rear, the driver, and the passenger, but this one happens to be equipped with quad AC and heat controls. So the third row gets their own controls, the second row gets their own controls, and of course the driver and the passenger get individual controls as well. So you can see here that the AC is blowing in the back, and you can control the fan speed in there, so it's very impressive with that. You can leave it on auto if you prefer and just let the car do all the work. But the amount of adjustability you have with the rear half of the car in regards to the AC is very impressive to me, and something I wish I had when I was a kid, sitting in the back of my parents' SUV, because it gets hot and you want to be able to control that. You can also control the radio and many other things with this display in the rear. It's very impressive here. According to the press release, this car really delivers on the quiet flight brand concept that Lincoln's going for. And you can see that with the screen here and in the front, kind of showing the clouds and showing, going through the clouds with the comfort of riding on a cloud, because that's what this car is like, ostensibly. If you don't believe me, you should see for yourself. But it also has USB ports, so when you're driving through the clouds, you can charge your phone or a laptop or whatever it is that you need to charge. And I just think that, I use the word impressive a lot because this is an impressive place. I like this vehicle a lot. And I'm showing you here just the center console for the rear. You can opt for the bench seat, which comes standard, or the captain's chairs in the back. Now with this luxury package, you also get the sunshades in the rear, which are nice for blocking out sun and allowing you to have more shade in the rear. Now up front, they also have a center console where you can put things and charge things, and also you have some extra space even moving forward there. Now, moving forward with the video, we're going to talk about the test drive. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the drive mode selection. So I just started changing the mode just by one rotation, It opens up, you don't have to press any button, you just start twisting it, and it shows you got the conserve mode. Let's take a look at this a little better. So we got the excite mode to start with. It's more responsive and engaging. You got the conserve mode for efficient driving. You got the normal mode for effortless and balanced driving. And you got the slippery for slick, icy, or loose surfaces. Deep conditions, mud, or snow. Wow, they really went all the way. You have all these options. Excite is nice. So you got all the different modes. I'm excited to try them out because this car has a twin turbo V6, 3.0 V6 with 2 turbos. They're twins. And it has, 400 horsepower? I'm going to double check that. I took a look at all the features. I was very impressed. I didn't retain all the information, but the powertrain in this is similar to the one in the Navigator. The Navigator is a much larger vehicle. This has the same transmission, the 10-speed, which is fantastic. It's very different than a typical automatic, but it's so smooth and crispy, fast shifts that it has the benefit of a performance car and a luxury car all in one. So I really like that transmission. So I'm interested to see how that turns out with the drive mode. Also, like I said, the engine up front sends power to the rear wheels. So, if you're comparing this car to similar ones in the segment of this size, you might say something like the MDX or the Lexus RX. The problem with that is they're not a fair comparison because those are front-wheel drive based cars. This is a real truck, platform, and it sends power to the rear wheels first. So it's a longitudinal setup, engine sending power to the rear, and then it can send power up to the front as it needs. So standard in this car, you get rear-wheel drive. And that's going to help with the steering dynamics because the front wheels are freed up just for turning in. So that's really nice to have, especially in a more sleek, performance-oriented SUV like this one versus something like the Navigator. I'm excited to see how that is. So I can stop talking now. Let's go ahead and start driving. All right, so we are starting out in the Excite mode. The way this car feels in a parking lot, because that's my first impression. When I was selling cars, I would ask people sometimes, you know, how does it feel? And I would ask them after like 10 seconds of driving, and they'd be like, I don't know, I didn't get a chance to drive it yet. But I was just so eager to find out because I really have a passion for a car that handles well, you know what I mean? So I'm eager to tell you right now that it has a very sturdy feel. That's the first thing I would note. I would compare this more to a European car. It has more of that sturdy performance car feel, you know? So that's nice, because it has a crisp... Sorry, I had to stop talking. I wanted to hear that engine, because it's in Excite mode. It's keeping the RPMs up a little bit. So right now I'm about 2,500 RPM. It revs, cuts off completely, shifts, re-engages within like no time at all. And you don't hear the changing of the gears. There's none of that like... There's none of that like... I'm not very good at imitating those things, I guess. Alright, going around the turn now. A lot heavier steering than I would expect, but that's because it's in the sportier mode. So let's see the acceleration now. Oh, wow. It didn't shift. I was trying to show you the shift, but obviously it kept it in the higher RPMs. It wanted really to give me all the power that it had. It spooled up, it just got faster and faster. It wouldn't shift. I couldn't even show you the shifting. So when you're going slowly in this vehicle, it's going to shift like 3 or 4 times, just, you know, getting up to speed to go like 45, you know? But then when you're really putting your foot in the, you know, putting your foot on the pedal, you know, putting it down, it holds those gears really long. So that's the dynamic advantage you're going to get from a 10-speed automatic like this. Okay, getting up to speed here on this road quickly. Yeah, no effort at all. But then again, it's not boring getting up to speed, you know what I mean? It makes it an exciting experience. I'm gonna slow down thanks to these signs letting me know these are very sharp turns. So I'm gonna go through them with the Excite mode steering, which is a little heavier, as I've mentioned. You can feel the difference. So as soon as I put the gas down, it kind of like, the weight shifts to the rear. It's rear-wheel drive based, so it's gonna be able to help push me up. Wow. You ever get stuck anywhere and you're in this thing, just hit the gas and it like digs in and goes. This is incredible. It's a really nice driving car. So now that I've kind of gotten through that bit, let's go ahead and change it to a more comfortable mode and see how the driving dynamics change. Okay, I'm now in conserve mode. It's a lot quieter. The shifts are smoother. It still accelerates very smoothly and up to speed without a problem. Yeah, it took more time to downshift there, and you know, it also wasn't at a high RPM because it upshifted earlier just to save fuel. So, you know, it's very typical. It's a very typical way to conserve fuel is just to upshift earlier, keep it in a lower RPM most of the time. So really all you're doing is changing the transmission dynamics. But the steering is smoother. It's very direct, you know? You move a millimeter on the steering wheel and you feel that change in the wheels on the road. It has that direct feel, but it is lighter and easier to make those changes with the steering wheel, whereas with the Excite mode, it was more sturdy feeling, a little heavier steering. So this is nice. Now, as far as the suspension goes, I'm not noticing that much of a change on the suspension. It was always soft. It doesn't feel much softer in conserve mode. Let me see about another mode and see what else changes, because I'm not reading all these things. I'm just kind of telling you guys what I'm experiencing. Let's go to normal mode. Okay, effortless and balanced. That's the normal mode. Yeah, it's in between conserve and Excite, which is appropriate. So I think Excite mode is the best one. I think as far as driving, obviously that's the best one. Are you going to do it all the time? Maybe not. For an everyday use, yeah, normal mode is good. This car is just good, basically. You know how it is as a normal vehicle. Comes standard with so many options. The powertrain is fantastic, so it's just normal mode for me is pretty good. Excite would be, yeah, if you wanted to go on roads like these, maybe you wanted to pass somebody on the highway and drive aggressively, I don't know. But it's nice. For me, it's like you have to figure out the balance. Do you want the car to be soft, right? You don't want it to be too soft because that can be kind of a bad thing, right? You want to have control, but this car does have a good dynamic with that when it comes to that, because you have control, but you have a nice flowing feeling going around the turns, you know, so on the way to work it's going to really relax you, and that's nice. Okay, I am at an intersection now, and I'm going to turn the camera around and show you me accelerating in Excite mode around a turn with the rear-wheel drive system, because it's different than the front-wheel drive one you might be used to. So check this out. Wow. Look at that, it's keeping it at like 4,500 RPM. It's winding down, it's not downshifting. So it's ready to just re-engage. It knows. That is nice. That's nice. Really a smooth but thrilling powertrain. I really like that. And I talked about this before with the Navigator, and in this vehicle, because it's lighter, it really makes a big difference, you know? It goes well with any vehicle, really, because it's so dynamic. It has those 10 gears, and it can be a quick shifting, conservative transmission, you know, or it can really hold those RPMs up and get the most power when you need it. So really like that transmission, big win. And then when you combine it with a twin turbo V6 like this, I mean, it's a win. Hashtag winning. Is that a thing? Let's take a look at some of the interior features. And we're gonna learn together. How about that? So the first thing I'm gonna focus on is this center console, which has a lot of storage space. There is an optional wireless charger that goes in this vehicle. I believe it would be here. This one doesn't have it, so I can't tell. It does have these USB and USB-C ports, electronic parking brake. The drive mode selector is here, as it is in some of the other cars like the Navigator. It looks like they are illuminated cup holders here, so at night there is some illumination, which is nice. And then you can close these covers very smoothly. A lot of attention to detail with the interior materials, such as this wood grain here, which is you can touch it and really feel the grain. And it's a nice change when you have a lot of this glossy black, you know, fingerprint magnet material like that. To have this wood here really highlighted by the sunlight there, it looks really nice. A premium feel, that's for sure. And now you have these different AC control options. I can just change the temperature here, and it shows you reflected on the screen. And when you put it on auto, which is what I have it now, it's gonna, you know, moderate the fan speed for you. This one has cooled seats up front. In the rear, it has that as an option. This one has it equipped. Heated seats, of course. Heated steering wheel. So standard, this car does come with a lot of these luxury features. You really go above and beyond if you want to opt for anything else. But, you know, a lot of these amenities are fantastic as standard. Okay, so this car has everything you can imagine. You know, quad AC and heat controls. Everybody has their own personal comforts. One of the nicest things about this car, from my experience, very brief experience, is the audio system. The acoustics are very impressive because it has kind of the feel like you're outside. It's like you're isolated from the world, right? Which is appropriate for a luxury vehicle. The outside world, noises aren't coming in, the road noise isn't there. You hear a little bit of the engine noise, which is sweet in my opinion. I really like that. But then the audio like really envelops you completely. It makes you feel like you're in a field of sound. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm not trying to be very figurative. I just literally don't know what else to say. It's very nice audio. When you press this button here, it automatically pulls up the seat controls. It's really nice. The passenger side has one too. I'm not sure what the primary function of that button is. Perhaps it does something else, because the image shows the seat moving forward, so I'm not sure if that's like to save the memory setting or what. But it does have a shortcut button on the door to open up those seat controls, which is nice. Because a lot of these controls in the car, there is nothing down here to use to control that center display. It's all a touchscreen. So sometimes for me, it's like changing between these different options, like what you want to control, is kind of difficult. So for me, I didn't realize you had to go over here to the seat settings and then change the seats. It seemed kind of out of the way for me. So it's nice to know there are some shortcut buttons. I'm sure by getting used to the car, you're going to learn and memorize them. 3-way power memory steering wheel, memory seats, of course. Now check out the electric operation of this door handle. Alright, so another thing I'm going to show you is the panoramic sunroof. So a lot of cars have these now. I turned it off because I closed it because it's very hot outside. Not just this one, I mean, it's hot outside, so having sun beaming down is not always the best. But take a look at that. Let me get my head out of the way, and you can see it's nice, and it has a lot of space for you to look outside at the sun. Alright, now let's take a look at some of these steering wheel features. I didn't show you any of them, but a lot of the things that they like to do with these is, you know, hide these buttons here so it looks more simple. They don't want to make it look really busy with all these buttons, right? So it's nice that the buttons kind of hide away and they don't distract you until you want them to, and they turn on like this. Now you can see all the additional features. So this is the cruise control button, right? If I press that, you're going to see on the steering wheel, it's going to show how far out, it's going to change the different modes. There's the lane keeping, on and off. This is the cruise control. You can resume, set, and go up. The buttons are actually on the back, these little buttons you can use. The speed is too low to activate because we're going 0 miles per hour. This is going to change the distance actually. So on the right side of your steering wheel, you have these buttons in the back that you can use to adjust how far, I'm showing you right there, that, right? How far back do you want your car to be from the car in front of you, right? And then this is the lane button, lane control. And, you know, like I said, with those options working together, it really allows the car to drive itself in traffic and things like that, so that's nice. And then as far as ergonomics go, it has the paddle shifters here. You can engage those 10 different gears with that very dynamic transmission. And, you know, your hands just resting on the steering wheel, you can use this button with your thumb. It's very nice and easy to use. One of the cool things they showed me at the dealership was these windshield wiper blades. So, do you see this? Can I slow that down? Now if I were to use this, I can change the settings and things up here, so I can kind of take a look at my navigation, my home, go back, settings, okay, display information, speedometer. Yeah, so very easy to use with these buttons here. Seatbelts, that's very cool. Look at that. You can tell which seatbelts are actually being used. And I'm just toggling through these different buttons here. Power distribution, that's nice. So you can see where more power goes. I'd like to see that driving, but I'm already done with the test drive, so I guess I should have checked this out before I went. So a lot of different things you can do with this steering wheel, but the whole point is to say that you're not going to get overwhelmed with these buttons because they kind of go away when you don't need them. That might take some getting used to, but I think once you do get used to it, it's really nice. Now you can also activate the parking information here, navigate to parking, that's very cool. Camera, manually with the use of these buttons, which is nice. Now here are the shifter buttons. You can move it from park to reverse, and that is how you activate the rear view camera. And you can see it has a 360 camera view. Now let's go back, take a look at that, we'll go back. You can kind of see you're close, right? And I like to use my side view mirrors to supplement that view. So like for example, you can see here, I'm not gonna touch it, you know? I'm not gonna touch that other car. It's always good to double check. But this camera is such high resolution and really good quality with the, you know, the 360 view on the right side of the screen that you don't really need to supplement it that much. It's just kind of like, you know, it's a tight spot. It's a nice car, you don't want to scratch it. So there you go. Now you can see here, I can zoom in and see exactly how close my bumper is. That's nice. I can change the view up here. Let's see just the rear. Okay, let's see the, oh, okay, that's cool. So you can kind of see out to the sides as well. And what else can we do? That's it. Oh wait, no, there's this 360 view. Yeah, so the 360 view isn't by itself. It comes along with the rear view, which is good to have, because 360 by itself I don't think is good enough. It's really just taking 4 different images. It's taking a camera from the front, one on the side of each side, and in the rear, and it's putting those images together. So, you know, there's a very real possibility that there is a gap somewhere in between those 4 different image compilations, you know? The compilation of those 4 different images together, you know, I think it's a nice way to supplement your view, especially when you're in a garage or something like this. It's a tight spot, but, you know, always it's good to take a look at everything else. Let me turn around here. I see some people always say that I don't trust those cameras and everything, and it's like, it's not meant for you to exclusively base your parking on that. You can still park like a normal person and take a look at everything, but there's no denying that's helpful. Very good information to have. Settings, seats. Okay, I went to seats, I went to settings. Now massage is on. I actually have a problem with my back that I'm still recovering from, and these seats with the lumbar support in the back have really helped, you know, put me in the right posture without really having to try. So it really relaxes you. There's no question about that. Full recovery. Wow. Speaking of that, I could feel it going slowly. Full recovery. It's doing the whole thing. It's going up the back, and then it's going to go on the bottom. That's very nice. They're really making improvements with these. I've seen some of these massaging systems in like the most basic, not the most basic, what am I saying? When they first came out, and they were in the most expensive cars, right? But now they're in a car like this, and it's like really nice. Very nice. Low rolling, upper rolling. Okay, that's good to know. Circular cushion. Yeah, so you can really configure this. It's very nice. I'm doing the driver right now, and you can change the intensity as well. So, okay, massaging seats, you know, you might say that at the beginning it was kind of a gimmick because they just had like lumbar air cushions opening and closing, you know what I mean? Maybe a couple of them, but this one, you have all these options. It's really, really impressive. Okay, let's change our focus over to the center display. So it is a touchscreen. It is kind of tacked on like an iPad. You can see that. Somebody tell me in the comments, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I heard that in the US, due to the safety regulations, we're no longer allowed to have the screens that go up and down, they retract into the dash because of safety reasons. They could detach more easily or something. So that, you know, there goes America again, taking out all the fun. So this is just the home screen, I believe. Yeah, I'm on the home screen. Looks like I can add a phone. I can turn the audio controls on and off there. Let me turn them off. Phone, nav, apps, settings. So these are just kind of your main menu options. Driver assistance, that's what I wanted to see. Cruise control, intelligent cruise control. So that will configure the cruise control settings to adapt to traffic ahead. So it's basically adaptive cruise control. Driver assist, configure the lane, keeping alerts and settings to your preferences. So it's really nice that this can show you what these features do, because a lot of people, especially when these features first came out, had trouble kind of understanding the benefit of them. And the benefit for me of having just the basic lane keeping assist system is that when you're on the highway, and let me just show you that graphic again, when you're on the highway, you don't want to constantly make small adjustments to the steering wheel, you know, just to keep in the lines, you know, that's kind of trivial. Like, of course, you want to be steering, you want to control your vehicle, but just to keep it in the lines, you know, who could be bothered to spend so much effort to do that? I'm being a little sarcastic, but the truth is, it really is a nice feature to have, and you know, seeing this graphic just kind of shows you. Now, the more advanced option would be the one that really steers and keeps in the lane even to a complete stop, which is the top trim of these. Combined with that adaptive cruise, which comes to a complete stop, this car will drive itself in traffic, which is very convenient. The combination of those two advanced safety features, for me, just make it really nice. It's very comfortable, convenient, and safe too, because, you know, the machine sees more than we can most of the time. So combined with the human, you know, attention and the computer paying attention as well, it really helps with safety. Auto hold is nice. So auto hold, what you do with that, there's no graphic for that. It holds the vehicle automatically at a stop. Traction control, you can turn that on or off. Driver alert, shows a coffee, notifies when inattentive. So apparently this will notify when it notices that you're not paying attention. Detects vehicles entering the rear blind spot zone. So cross traffic alert has to do with cross traffic alert. The alerts is the same thing. I think that the blind spot is more for the highway and the cross traffic is more for backing out of a parking spot. Pre-collision assist. This will configure well, this setting will allow you to configure. But you can see the little graphic there. That shows an image warning you when there's an imminent collision, coming up. So at least you'll get that visual warning. That seems like one of the first stages. And by the way, take a look at that light bar. Very sharp look there. It's hard to show sometimes in the daylight how nice that looks. So it's a good graphic. But anyway, back to the safety. So pre-collision assist will come to a complete stop if necessary. It will warn you first and do all sorts of other things to tell you that it's got your back and try to help you with safety. Now again, this is a lot of safety, or a lot of settings and stuff like that, which, every car has their settings. So Apple CarPlay, that's nice. Check that out. Navigation. I've shown Apple CarPlay enough, It has Apple CarPlay. It does that. The thing about Apple CarPlay is it's a proprietary operating system. It's going to show you what your iPhone shows you, only the apps that are approved by Apple. So, it's as good as Apple lets it be, pretty much. I prefer Google Maps. Very nice system here. It is very responsive. The first thing I did when I went to the home screen and I pressed the settings, it took a little longer than I thought, but I think it was just, still initializing all the systems. So that's understandable. Ambient light. This is nice. So you can change the colors of the interior lighting. Now let me see if I can see that. Yeah, I don't know, because I would believe it's in here, but I think it knows it's not dark enough for that. So you can change the color. So that's nice. Ambient lighting colors can be changed. I don't believe that's referring to these up here. These are little lights just to illuminate down here, so when you're in the pitch black, you can still see the buttons in this car. It's a real luxury vehicle. I showed you like the little handle on the outside and how the buttons kind of go away and things like that. The attention to detail with the interior materials is very nice. And if you're comparing this car to some of the premium brands, which is, I think, a nice way to say, like, not complete luxury, this car stands above those. It really stands to the top class cars like the European luxury vehicles. And it's thanks to those attention to details on the materials and the buttons, the ergonomics, things like that. And beyond that, I think more importantly than all of that, for me, is a performance. And not like sports car performance, but I mean being able to get up and go when there's traffic, having a smooth, sturdy feel. Those things are very important. Some of these cars you can get a lot of features, and it's a great deal in quotes, because it's cheaper, but the machine itself isn't really built well, and I don't feel that that's the case in this one. I feel like this is all around a very good vehicle. So I hope you felt the same way. If you enjoy it, feel free to go out and take a test drive. Like I said, if you're in the DC area, go to this dealership, Ted Britt. It's in Chantilly in the Auto Park Circle. So yeah, if you're looking for a vehicle like this, 7-seater, 5-seater, SUV, midsize, this is definitely a contender, especially for the real luxury competitors like the BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and things like that. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any comments or you want to share this video, please feel free to do so. And subscribe if you're looking for more videos like these. I'm always looking for opportunities to meet new car people and to make more content like this. So thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.